Are your numbers at -4 and +4? They should be, because if you count, those are the numbers that are 1, 2, 3, 4 units away from 0. And it doesn't matter which direction you've gone if we're talking about distance. Distance is always positive. So one way that distance is used in math is absolute value represents distance. So if I have the absolute value of a number, that stands for the distance between that number and 0. So the absolute value of -4 is 4 because it's 4 units to get from -4 to 0. The absolute value of +4 is also equal to 4 because although I'm going a different direction, it's still 1, 2, 3, 4 units in distance away from 0. You can write an equation that represents both numbers that are 4 units away from 0 by writing an equation that looks like absolute value of x equals 4. So this stands for the numbers that have a distance of 4 away from 0. So the solution to the equation absolute value of x equals 4 is just our two numbers, 4 and -4, since those are the numbers that have a distance of 4 units to get to 0. Probably took 130 minus 5 to get the distance between 130 and 5 on a number line and got 125. It's actually possible that you could have subtracted 5 minus 130. You probably didn't because it's more difficult. And then you would have gotten -125. In terms of distance, though, really we don't care about direction. So what we do is say the distance itself is +125, and we represent that by putting these absolute value bars around the two numbers that we're finding the distance between. So both of these equations say the distance between 130 and 5 is equal to 125 units. So when we're subtracting inside absolute value, the order really doesn't matter because it's a measure of distance. Let's look at an equation where one of our numbers is unknown. So what this essentially says is that the distance between these two numbers that are being subtracted is equal to 3 units. Because like we talked about, I subtract two numbers to figure out how far apart they are, and then this absolute value stands for this representing the distance between them, which means it's going to be a positive value. So the distance between x and 2, in this case, is equal to 3 units. So what this would look like on a number line, if I'm thinking about solving for x, is I know that if I'm at 2, my values of x are the numbers that are 3 units in distance away from there. So 1, 2, 3 units to the right. If I add 3, would put me at 5 for a possible value of x. Or I could be going the other direction 3 units. So if I subtract 3, that would put me at a second possible value of x being -1. So there would be two solutions to this equation, -1 and 5. Addition is a little bit harder to think about because we're still trying to think about the distance between two numbers. That's what absolute value is representing. So if you have addition inside, you're going to want to think about that as subtracting a negative. So rewrite it as what it equals using subtraction. So I could rewrite this x plus 1 as x minus -1. And then thinking about what's being subtracted there, the values that are being subtracted are the numbers you're getting the distance between. Because to find the distance between two numbers, I'm subtracting them. I do like 10 minus 6 to get that those are 4 apart, or 10 minus 3 to get that those are 7 apart. I'm never adding to figure out how far apart two numbers are. So this equals my original, and the values that are being subtracted that I'm finding the distance apart are x and -1. So this statement says that x is all the numbers that are 4 units away from -1, because I know that the distance between -1 and x is equal to 4 units.